Pretty much everybody in face painting have heard about it, but not that much people actually know how to use it, or just what are the best things you can actually do with it. Welcome Shapeshifter and Doppelgangers alike, and welcome to my channel. So today we're gonna talk about this bad boy over here, so the Makeup Forever Flash Palette. Before we jump into the subject, just some quick reminder. First of all, you can give a like to the video, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to see some other tips and technique for cosplay makeup and face painting. Also, you can see a lot of the cosplay makeup transformation that I do. You can also link in the description for my Instagram account so you can see the pics of these makeups. So without further ado, let's talk about 3 technique and tips for cosplay makeup and face painting that I do with that palette. So the first thing I really like to do with the Makeup Forever Flash Palette is to use it for lining. So for my makeup look, I generally use water activated paint. I use the Mehron Paradise paint a lot, but if I want to do details or lining and everything, I cannot just like use a smaller brush and use different body paint because they will just mix and it will look like a mess. So normally I would like to use eyeliner or gel liner, things like that, but there's some problem. Like if I use the pencil like that, most of the time they are not precise enough, or they are hard to be precise enough. Or if I really want precision, I will use those kind of eyeliner, but they mostly come in black, so that's why the Flash Palette is really useful. What I do is I use a small eyeshadow brush, and it's not really complicated. You really don't need a lot of product. Just dab it and I mean, it can make really sharp, fine lines. So I mostly use that technique when I did my Slipknot's Alessandro's mask. It was like a gray background with a lot of golden lining and everything. So I use the golden color of the Flash Palette for that, and then I went over it with a golden eyeshadow, and that's how I made that crazy detailed makeup. So that's one thing that I really like to do with the Flash Palette. So now let's jump to point number 2. So the second thing I really like to do with the Flash Palette is using it as an eyeshadow base. So some people do that to use like body paint over their eyelid, but personally I don't want to take that risk. First of all, I'm not sure how safe it is for the eye, and also it can be quite messy and drip everywhere, and I don't want to have that dripping in my eyes. So that's why I instead use a Flash Palette. If you look at the Makeup Forever website, they say that you can use it as an eyeshadow base. So most people will use as an eyeshadow base, they will use like an eyeshadow primer, or they will use their concealer. But the problem is that with both of these products, your skin will show through, so the color will be way less vivid. So what you need is or a white base, like to start with a blank canvas, or you need a base that is the same color as your eyeshadow. So that's why I use the Flash Palette. You can, if you don't have the color you want, you can mix them in order to get the right color. So normally what I will do is I will take a color, I will use like a small concealer brush like this one from MAC, and you don't need a lot. You will apply it over your eyelid, and then you will use an eyeshadow, and the eyeshadow will kind of also set the cream makeup of the palette. So I will do a quick comparison to show you, and then I'll be back. So here's the result. I did my 2 eyes using the same eyeshadow. I used that red color for a custom MAC eyeshadow palette. So on this side I used a simple not tinted eyeshadow primer, and on the other one I use the Flash Palette as an eyeshadow base. Honestly, on camera you don't see that much a difference, but I will take a picture with my cell phone and post it so you can really see the biggest difference. So this technique is very good if you're doing like artistic makeup or if you're doing a photo shoot. For me, what I do is I do my makeup, I take the photo shoot, and then I already wash it off. So for that kind of thing, it is really great. I have to say I would be more cautious if I use it like for a beauty makeup look that I would wear all day, because I would be curious to see if it would crease through the day. Obviously, if you put too much, it will crease, but you just have to be careful with that, especially on the long run. So that being said, let's jump on point number 3. So now that I took my eyeshadow off, let's jump on point number 3, which is not as much as a tip or a technique, but more a use I do of it, and it's for cosplay convention. So when I do my cosplay, I really like to showcase my makeup. So generally I wear a lot of body paint all over my face, sometimes on my hands as well, and you wear it all day, and obviously you're gonna heat, maybe you will have to remove your costume, and then you will scratch it and some will go off. So the flash palette is really good for touch-up. So obviously I don't want to bring water activated paint on a convention because it is really inconvenient. So instead I will bring the flash palette, I will bring a couple of like travel size makeup brushes, and I will also bring some eyeshadow. So one thing that I like to do is these little guys from Makeup Forever, their system is that and obviously MAC does a similar thing, but you can buy eyeshadow single and put them in different pans like this. So I will take the 6 color that I need the most for my cosplay, I will put them in the same one, and I will bring that with me. So I will have the flash palette, and then I will put the corresponding eyeshadow on top of it to set it off. If you apply the flash palette on a wider surface, you need to set it. So that's why on convention and everything, I will set it with my eyeshadows. So just that and some of travel size eyeshadow brushes, and you're good to go for a cosplay convention. It's usually something that I really like to do in the green room before entering for judging at a masquerade. So that was point number 3. So here I'm back with makeup on. So I did the Corvo, or at least Corvo's mask from the game Dishonored, and I just used the technique that I described to you. So I used the golden shade from the flash palette to do all the lining. Also pretty much every part that is golden on my makeup I used it. Most of the time I also applied eyeshadow on top, golden eyeshadow on top of it to set it in. So I hope you really enjoyed the video. Please give a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!